I loved Edge's promo. It was short, it never dragged, and it got to the point, which is ironic because the guy who runs NXT is known for doing the opposite. I loved how he put over Finn Balor, Pete Dunne, the NXT title, even the NXT brand. I really loved it too when you said that the second W in WWE stands for wrestling. Something I'm sure caught Vince McMahon off guard. What do you mean? Wrestling? That's bullshit. My father ran a wrestling company. I run an entertainment conglomerate. And I love the way Edge put over the NXT brand, saying that it's the wrestling show and that the passion of the NXT talent is one of the things that gave him the passion to come back from a career-ending injury and win the Royal Rumble. If you're Triple H, you must have loved this promo because it's Edge basically saying that NXT is the best that wrestling has to offer and that you should be watching NXT and NXT only on Wednesday nights. So stop watching AEW because the USA Network isn't happy with us right now. And if ratings don't go up, they're gonna replace us with NASCAR. On a serious note, I just want to clarify, I was just joking. I truly believe Edge meant what he said. I think he would have said the same thing even if AEW wasn't competing with NXT for ratings, even if AEW didn't exist. So Edge, if for whatever reason you're watching my silly video, I just want you to know that I was just joking. You're literally one of my heroes. So please don't block me on Twitter. No! Well, back to the promo. I loved the way that Edge put over Pete Dunne. Edge, who is an 11-time heavyweight champion of the world, says that he sees himself in Pete Dunne, thus telling the audience that he has all the potential in the world, and that's something that you shouldn't miss out on. And speaking of things that shouldn't be missed out on, the way that Edge puts over Finn Balor, saying that he's operating on a whole other level, almost implying that Finn Balor is at his peak, and that he is someone that is special to watch. And him saying that about the champion even goes further to put over the championship, which Edge also does when he says that he might just use his WrestleMania opportunity to challenge for the NXT championship at WrestleMania in the main event. Just him teasing that puts the NXT championship on the same level as the WWE championship, as the Universal Championship. And the way that Edge describes the match that's going to happen between Pete Dunne and Finn Balor. He doesn't call it a wrestling match, he calls it a fight, implying that the personal issue that Pete Dunne and Finn Balor have is so deep that these two hate each other so much that they're not going to go out there and have a competition. They're not going to go out there and have a wrestling match. They're going to go out there and have a fight. And they're going to have a fight for the heavyweight championship. And when Edge says that depending on who wins that match, depending on the outcome, that might just be the deciding factor on who he faces or who he doesn't face at WrestleMania. Thus telling the casual fan who maybe doesn't watch NXT that, hey, this match has WrestleMania ramifications. That depending on who wins this match, maybe that's who Edge decides to face in the WrestleMania main event. Or maybe even who he doesn't choose to face at the WrestleMania main event. And maybe this is me overanalyzing it, but in a way you could kind of be planting the seeds. This whole promo could be Edge planting seeds in the future to work with a Finn Balor or work with a Pete Dunne. Because I don't think he's going to choose the NXT championship for WrestleMania. But again, him just doing this promo enhances the championship, the challenger, the brand, the champion, everything around him. And you could even tell this interesting story where maybe in the future, whoever wins the match, down the road, down the line, when that person gets called up to the main roster and they could do a program with Edge, and they could call back to the fact, hey, I was NXT champion at the time. You could have faced me at WrestleMania, and you didn't. There are so many ways you could branch off that. The stories are endless here, and it's just one way that seeds can be planted for the future. But back to the main topic on hand here. Edge is giving that match stakes. He's telling the audience that you can't miss out on this match. Not just because Pete Dunne has all the potential in the world. Not just because Finn Balor is at his best. Not just because the NXT championship is so important. Not just because these two have a personal issue that goes beyond a wrestling match and it's going to be a fight. But on the top of it all is that it possibly has WrestleMania main event ramifications, and you don't want to miss out on that. And the beautiful thing about all of this is that Edge did this all in 3 minutes. 3 minutes. There are some people on the WWE roster who can't even tie their shoes in 3 minutes if they had a camera placed on them. And I'm not saying that you should expect everyone on that roster to cut promos like this one, because honestly that's unrealistic. But I think this goes to show how much of a great promo Edge is. And for that matter, how much of a selfless performer he is, because realistically, he didn't have to cut this promo. Edge's story, whether he goes after the WWE Championship or the Universal Championship, either one of those two belts, this promo wasn't really needed for that story to be told. At best, it's an added little piece, but again, it wasn't really needed for this program, for Edge's journey to the championship. But the fact that he went out there and did it anyway and put over everything around him and didn't have to put over himself, brother. And again, he did this all in 3 minutes. And the main conclusion I want to come to is that I think All in all, Edge is a little bit underappreciated. Not to say that fans don't appreciate him, not to say that fans don't love him, but when it comes to him being a great promo, and I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who do say that he's a great promo, but I mean to the extent that I think when you look at that top tier of greatest promos in wrestling, there's a top tier that very few people that are on that tier. You have your Austins, your Rocks, your Flares, and maybe a few other people. And again, you can't expect that echelon, that list to be very high because, again, it's the toppest tier. But I think promos like this go to show that Edge does deserve and has earned the right to be talked about in that top tier. And that realistically, there are very few performers out there who are at that caliber that Edge is at. And I think the WWE should be very grateful that they have someone like Edge back on their roster. Because I think in this day and age, there are very few people that could really go out there and perform the way that he does, whether it's in the ring or the microphone or any degree. And I think this promo proves that. Thanks for sitting through that one. I know that one was longer than usual, but I just couldn't stop talking about this promo. That being said, if you guys didn't like this video, please let me know, because as much as fun I have working on this, I also want to create content that's fun for you guys to watch. And if this wasn't it, please let me know. I'm very open to feedback and constructive criticism. And if you guys did like this video, feel free to give me a like and subscribe and comment down below. What do you guys think? Do you think Edge is underappreciated like I do when it comes to his microphone skills, or do you think he receives enough praise? Do you think he does deserve to be in that same discussion as a Rock or an Austin, etc.? Do you think this promo is as great as I think it is, or do you think I'm just blowing it out of proportion? I'll try to respond to everyone that I can, which I think at this point in time I would be able to because I'm a pretty small channel. I just want to say one more time, thank you so much for watching. Time is precious, and the fact that you spent almost 10 minutes of it just watching my nonsense means a lot. So again, thank you!